Hello there. Thanks for joining me again, and if you're new here, thanks for joining for the first time. I was really excited about painting this because I haven't painted a large painting in a few weeks, but I hadn't got the sort of the sparks in my head to paint. But this morning I went out for a walk with my dog, Beans, and it was very, very frosty, and the light was lovely. I've got a shot of it. I came back to my studio and I thought, I've just got to paint. And this time, rather than painting the sky and the landscape, I decided to do something a bit different, and that was just to paint around this canvas, here, there, or there, wherever it is. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the process. I really got into it. It really felt like a dance, and the painting came together really well. And I came to the end of it just in a very natural way, looked at it and thought, yeah, I like that. And it's so satisfying when you paint something and it actually works. Often they don't work and you have to keep on going back to them. So I hope you enjoy this video. It's not very long, but I hope it gives you lots of inspiration and ideas for techniques that you can take into your own painting. I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, subscribe and share it with your painting friends. Thank you. So I've got a really simple colour palette of cerulean blue, ultramarine blue and Prussian blue, which is a very dark toned, cold blue. I've also got cadmium yellow pale and crimson, and then raw umber, which is a very dark, coolish brown, and titanium white, and that's it. And you can mix some really, really beautiful colours with the addition of raw umber. If you mix blue, any of the blues with raw umber, it turns it into a rather beautiful grey colour. And if you mix Prussian blue with raw umber, you get this wonderful dark teal, which you can see that I've got on the canvas in various places. And that's giving me my dark tones. And as you can see, there's nothing really happening. I mean, these are just me playing with my palette knife and pushing paint across the canvas. And it's a really, really delicious thing to do. This lovely olive green is cadmium yellow mixed with the raw umber. And I've got some bold vertical lines going in. Again, not sure quite how they're going to end up, but I just wanted to get some marks in. It's about experimentation at this point. Now I'm bringing in some reds. This is crimson mixed with the yellow with a tiny touch of raw umber. And that I've sort of moved across in places with different shapes across the bottom of the painting to draw the eye in. It's a complementary colour, so it really works well with the greens. I've swapped now to my trusty little spatula, which makes some lovely little marks, and I'm putting in some really dark tones right at the top of the painting. Again, still no particular feeling of what this place is, but it was reminiscent of colours and water and sky and frost that I'd seen over the past few days. Now I've moved on to a brush, and this is a very loose painting. It's a brush filled with water, and I've just got a little bit of paint, and I'm just moving it across the canvas. I call this filling in the gaps. It's not really, but you know what I mean. I'm just sort of filling in spaces, but it gives a different texture. It's very smooth and flowing, whereas with a palette knife, it's more staccato and thick paint and texturized. So it's lovely to get the difference between the texture and the smoothness. I'm holding my brush, as you can see, in a very rough way. It's not like a pen or a pencil. And that's really to stop myself from getting any real detail and messing around too much. Because as soon as you do that, you just lose the spontaneity of the painting and it becomes detailed. And people often say to me, how do you paint loosely? And it's sometimes by the way you hold your brush, the brushes you use, painting quickly, painting with the wrong hand, i.e. not your dominant hand. And as you can see here, using the brush in a funny way, I'm rolling it across the canvas. And as you can see, I am moving across the canvas all the time. So no part of it is particularly finished, but I'm just feeling my way across it and regularly stepping back and seeing how it's working. And so what am I looking for? I'm looking for the shapes that I'm making, and I'm looking for the tonal differences and seeing if I've got enough impact with those tonal differences. So again, at the moment, it doesn't seem to feel like very much, but I'm enjoying this process so much, I don't care. I've gone back to this right-hand side, and now I feel I'm painting in a tree, and I'm getting a tiny bit annoyed with myself because I kind of want this to be much looser than, oh, this is a tree kind of thing. I don't know if that makes any sense. So I'm painting it in with my spatula. It is fairly loose, but I decide that I need it to work in a different way for me. So I've got my little rigger brush, which is a very fine brush, and I'm running that through the wet paint to get the feeling of lots of branches, which you'd get in winter, and they're all over the place. And I'm not drawing them in particularly as, you know, this is a branch. I'm just wiggling the paintbrush around to get that feel. And I love this little rigger brush. I feel it's become part of my signature. What I do very often in my paintings now is I will run the rigger brush across the painting in swirls, because to me that represents energy. It kind of represents birds and insects without actually painting them. Now, here's another great tip. I've just sprayed the canvas with some water, and the water has dripped down. Now, the canvas has to be wet, or at least the most recent layer has to be wet for this to work. And the water drips down, and then you get a piece of fabric, old fabric or kitchen towel, and then you gently lay it on, and the fabric or kitchen towel lifts up the paint where the water drips down, and you get some wonderful, wonderful marks. I use this technique quite a bit. It just adds something different to the painting. And then very often I'll use that same piece of paper and I'll dab it somewhere else to get the paint from where I've just lifted it onto another part of the painting, just like here. So now I've got a huge variety of marks, which is making the painting more interesting. I'm going back to colour here, and I'm using this rich rusty red in a different place in the painting. It's bottom right, it's bottom left, and now I want it to drift up into the top left. That's important because it's leading the viewer's eye around the painting. So now I'm just filling in different parts of the painting. I've used pure raw umber there, which I really don't like, and so I grab some Prussian blue and I dob it straight across it. That was such an instant dislike that's what I did. And then I realised I didn't actually like the mark that I'd made. It was like too big and too horrible looking. So I get my kitchen towel again and I draw across it. So this paint is very wet, and if you draw across it, it lifts up parts of the paint that you've already put down. And I'm doing it again. This is just with the end of a paintbrush, and it's just lifting up some of that big, very obvious, very dominating mark, and you can see some of the paint underneath, or maybe just some of the canvas, and it just gives it a bit of freedom almost, rather than being just that block. And now I'm using the spatula to do a similar thing with the edge of the spatula, just to cut through that paint. It's still wet, so you have to work fast to do this. And I like what's happened on the right, so I'm going to do it on the foreground at the very bottom, again, just to add some more interest. This top left-hand bit of the painting has bothered me, and I think bothers me a little bit all the way through the process, because it's never quite how I want it to look. So now I'm adding in some very pale blue to replicate the sky showing through, to add a little bit of light. Here comes that rigger brush again, can't let it go. And this time I'm using Prussian blue mixed with raw umber to make these marks. And they're just a delight, and they're so simple to do. As I say, for me, the rigger brush represents sort of energy and the movement of insects and birds around a landscape. Here it is again. I think it really ties together this painting, and yeah, it just felt right to use it. You can see how easy it is. I mean, you just have a little bit of paint and you run it through wet paint on the painting. Don't worry about that. That's the joy of it. I've gone back to that top left bit of vegetation. I've added some dark tones to it. That's kind of bothering me. And again, I've gone back and I've added some more dark tones with my rigger brush running through the bottom. It's kind of like calligraphy or something, I'm not sure. Calligraphy and paint. Now, these are the last few marks I'm making, and it's really just to kind of finish it off, I think. I'm really feeling as though I can't do much more without spoiling it. That's what's going through my head. So I'm using some pale green for a feeling of distance, which I think is important. I've added some fairly neat cadmium yellow in here, as you can see, because I just wanted to lift that section, and I think that's helped. And I've also added a tiny bit across to at the bottom right of the painting, and that's really to get that sense of movement through the painting. And it kind of, the viewer doesn't recognize it particularly, but they're sort of visual clues that are sort of unconscious when a viewer looks at a painting. This is the last mark I make on this painting, and it's just a very, very quick bit of painting of very pale green in the distance. And when I looked at it afterwards, I thought, that just looks like a tree. It wasn't intentionally a tree, but it works because it gives the painting some perspective. I photographed it, as I always do, because you can see a lot from a photograph. But I really liked it. I liked the freedom in it. I liked the storytelling, and I was very satisfied. So I'm going to finish it off with a layer of satin varnish, probably, frame it, and there you go, a winter song. I've written a book on how to paint flowers expressively in acrylics. Let me show you. There are lots of photographs and lots of information. So head over to Amazon or to the link in the description of this video and grab yourself a copy. Bye for now.